Rank number 84. The woman who hid a dark secret behind closed doors. A child disappears. Not from a remote road, not from a forest, from a crowded street in broad daylight. Days later, a neighbor notices something strange. Children going into one apartment, but never coming back out. So she watches, counts, waits. And when the police finally open the door, they don't just find evidence of a crime. They find something that suggests this was never just one person. A number, a name, and a count that cannot be undone. Tonight's entry, rank 84, 12 confirmed victims. More suspected. This is the story behind the number. This is behind the veiled truths. The story, Act 1, the first signs. Barcelona, early 1900s. A city of wealth and shadows. On one side, grand opera houses, elite gatherings, power. On the other, poverty, overcrowded streets, and children left to survive on their own. It was in that gap that something began to grow unnoticed. At first it looked like coincidence. A missing child here, another there. Street children, orphans, those without anyone powerful enough to ask questions. And that's what made it easy to ignore. Because the first question people asked wasn't who took them. It was, did anyone notice they were gone? Act 2, the pattern emerges. Then came the rumors, whispers spreading through the poorer districts. Stories of a woman, sometimes dressed like a beggar, sometimes like someone from high society. A woman who approached children with kindness, food coins, promises, and then disappearance. But rumors aren't evidence, and in a city like Barcelona at the time, rumors were easy to dismiss, especially when the victims had no voice. But one detail kept returning. The same woman, the same area, the same pattern. So the question became unavoidable. If multiple people are describing the same person, why isn't anyone acting on it? Act E3. Investigation and mistakes. Authorities were aware. They heard the rumors, they saw the reports, and still nothing happened. Official statements claimed there were no kidnappings, no organized activity, nothing to worry about. Which raises a deeper question. Were they wrong, or were they choosing not to look? Because behind the scenes, something else was happening. A network, quiet, protected, hidden behind status and influence. And at the center of it, a woman who lived two lives. By day, a ragged figure blending into the streets, invisible. By night, well-dressed, welcomed, moving among the wealthy. Two identities, one purpose, and if you're still here, you already feel the shift. This isn't just a killer story, it's a system story. And if you follow cases where power and silence intersect, consider subscribing to Behind the Veiled Truths, because this is where those stories surface. Act 4. The discovery. The breakthrough didn't come from police. It came from a neighbor, someone who noticed what others ignored, children entering an apartment and never leaving. So she reported it. And this time, the police acted. When they entered the apartment, they expected answers. What they found instead was something far more disturbing. Not chaos, not randomness. Structure, objects, containers, evidence of a process, and signs that this place was not just where crimes ended, but where they were prepared. They rescued two children, but they were too late for others. And as the search expanded, more evidence emerged. Hidden spaces, concealed remains. Items that suggested this had been happening for a long time. But the most unsettling discovery wasn't what was inside the apartment. It was what connected to it. Because records indicated something larger. Clients, buyers, people with influence. So the question changed again. If this network exists, how many people knew about it? Act 5. Arrest, trial, aftermath. The woman at the center of it all was arrested. Her name, Enriqueta Martí. The story exploded across Spain. Outrage, fear. Demands for accountability. And one promise from investigators. This wouldn't stop with her. Others would be exposed, but that never happened. Because before the trial could begin, Enriqueta Martí was killed inside prison, beaten by other inmates. Silence, permanently. And with her death, something else disappeared. Names, connection, answers. What remained was a case officially closed, but never fully explained. Because even today, one question lingers over this story. Was Enriqueta Martí the architect of these crimes, or just the visible part of something much larger? And if you're following this countdown, you already know. Some cases don't end, they fade. And subscribing to Behind the Veiled Truths keeps you inside the ones that still raise questions. 12 confirmed more suspected. Lives taken, in silence, and protected by power. Rank number 84 is behind us, but the descent continues. Because the next case on this list reveals something even darker. This is Behind the Veiled Truths, and we're getting closer to number 1.